Hey guys, what's up? Welcome to part one of the remix series. What I have here is a blank project file of FL Studio 10, which is the studio software we're going to be using to remix Pumped Up Kicks by Foster the People. I will be getting into why I chose that song, but for now I just want to tell you this is a completely blank project file, so there's nothing on the master channel. If you go on the mixer and you see anything over here like a limiter, just get rid of that. We don't need it. There's all the default sounds, we're pretty much at point blank at this point. But in this tutorial, I kind of want to get into explaining to you guys like what is a remix, what's an acapella, and just generally defining these terms so that we don't really have to go through it throughout the series. I'll be showing you where to get acapellas and what to look out for when choosing your song to remix. Now, what is a remix? Now, a lot of people will have different definitions, and it's really hard to have a completely general definition, but here's something that I was able to kind of come up with. A remix is a blend of, it's kind of like a cover, except instead of just singing or playing the song in a band live exactly or similar to the exact song that you're covering, you're re-recording it within a studio. So we got this recorded song and we're gonna kind of re-record it with our own instruments, all within the studio, or if you're a DJ, then sometimes you do it with your set, with your kit. So I think that really kind of changes the whole, or kind of sets the border for cover and remix. Remix, you're taking an already recorded song and you're re-recording it, you're giving it your own mix down, and you're kind of blending your style with the original song. Now, our original song is Pumped Up Kicks, which hopefully, I'm sure most of you know what the song actually sounds like, but when we're done remixing the song, it'll be a completely different song. The thing that will remain is the vocals. Now, the vocals, we refer to that as the acapella. We all know what an instrumental version of a song is. It's when, there's no vocals. The song sounds exactly the same. It's a lot like a karaoke version of a song. You only hear instruments. There's no singer, there's no vocals. Maybe there's some backup vocals, but that's about it. An acapella is the exact opposite. So all it is just vocals and no instrument. Now I'll be referring to the vocals only version of Pumped Up Kicks just by the acapella, because I'm sure most of you might not even be using Pumped Up Kicks, so it's just the vocals, the acapella. Now to find these acapellas, you can either make it yourself, which is usually very difficult, or you can go on sites like Acapellas for You or Acapella Blog. Alright, these are the two sites that I technically go to when I'm looking to find vocal only versions of original songs. Now on acapella, actually on both sites, you're gonna need to make an account. It's all free, so don't even worry about it. So go into acapella menu and acapella search. That's what I like to usually go into. Right, so you can see that over here there's like all the popular searches, but if you want to search something else, there's this area where you can type it in. If I hit Adele, probably will be more. Yeah, see, there we go. You can see that there's a bigger selection. I like to look at the stars here on the rating. If it's below 4 stars, then you might have to be careful, because a lot of people upload acapellas that are poor quality, and that can really screw up your mix. So make sure that if you're going to even bother remixing a song that have vocals in it, I highly suggest you get a decent enough acapella. Alright, so if you click on that, you'll have to wait like a minute and then you can start downloading. Similar thing for Acapella Blog. I usually don't start on Acapella Blog. I tend to just search it up on Google, so I could just search up Pumped Up Kicks acapella, and then hopefully I'll come up with something. And a lot of times you actually do, but on Acapella Blog you can also get remix packs. Remix packs are just a zip folder full of acapellas. There can be MIDI files of certain melodies of the song, samples and things like that. So generally, acapellas for you is my first search, and then I'll look in acapella blog. Remember to make an account or else you won't be able to download. Right, so once you've downloaded the song, acapella version, it'll come up as this MP3 file. Just go to your downloads folder and it should be there. Now this is my downloads folder, and you can see that Foster the People is right here, Pumped Up Kicks Studio Acapella. It's an MP3 file, and generally all you have to do is, with FL Studio opened up like this, open up the downloads folder, click on it, right, drag it over onto the playlist. You can drag it onto the step sequencer. I find that just gives you a little too much work because you'll have to like make a new channel. It'll make a new channel when you drag it onto the playlist. So I highly recommend you just drag it directly onto the playlist, which is the big canvas grid that we have here. And the codec file should start working, and we'll get this nice waveform. So this is the waveform file, I guess, or the visuals of the vocals. If I want to play it, you can see that there's no instruments. It's really just very clean vocals. Now that is one reason why I want to remix this song, because I was able to find the acapella. Now there's so many other aspects that you kind of have to look at. A huge thing is the tempo of the song, the BPM. If this song, let's say, was very, very slow and you want to make, I don't know, an upbeat, fast version of the song, or like, I don't know, trance or something like that, then you might actually just ruin the feel of the song because it's playing too fast or it's playing too slow if you want it to be in halftime. So having a tempo that's hopefully relatively close to the remix tempo, which is the tempo of the genre in which you'll be remixing in, the better, I guess. Right, so first thing we have to do is find the original song's tempo. So in this case, we have to find the tempo of Pumped Up Kicks. I'm just going to go to the chorus, hopefully I can find it. There it is, right, so the chorus starts right here. I'll just outlines a section here, and as you can see, control click drag. Alright, so what I'm going to do, clicking on song, of course, I'm going to right click on the tempo. I'm going to hit tap, and I'm going to get this little window that says tap tempo, and it's very, very simple. You just got to click on this square section, keep a steady beat, and it'll tell you at what tempo you're playing at. If I play really, really slow, it'll give me a nice slow tempo. Alright, so it's just clicking with your mouse. What I'm going to do is going to hit spacebar, and then we'll start tapping to the beat of the vocal. Yeah, I'm probably going to have to bring it back down to 130. There we go. All the other kids with the pumped up kicks, he's better run, and I'll run my gun. All the other kids with the pumped up kicks, he's better run, faster than my bullet. All the other kids with the pumped up kicks, he's better run, and I'll run my gun. All the other kids with the pumped up kicks. Now the longer you do it for, the better chance you actually found the original tempo, but it was sitting at 128 for a pretty long time. So I'm going to kind of trust that. I'm going to trust that I was tapping to the beat of the song, and hit accept, and when I do that, you can see that the tempo has changed from 130 to 128. So now our entire project tempo is 128. Now I'm going to double click on the envelope here, this sample, and that will bring up the channel settings. Alternatively, you could just hit on the channel and it'll bring it up either way, but double clicking is easy. Alright, so now this is the channel settings. What we want to do is, because hands up music, most hands up music plays at 140 to 148 BPM. This tempo, the tempo of Pumped Up Kicks, is slightly too slow. So what we're going to do is we're going to speed it up without changing its pitch, because we don't want it to sound like Chipmunk, you know. Let's say we were remixing in a slower type of house, 128 would be just fine. So sometimes you do have to change the tempo, sometimes you don't. But in this case, we have to change it, we have to make it faster. So what we're going to do is we're going to right click on the time knob, which is under the time stretching section. Right click and hit auto detect. It'll give us this window. Disregard 50 to 100 and etc. Disregard the estimated time unless it's right. In this case, it's completely off. It says 75.773. Don't know where it got that, so don't even bother going with that. You can choose 128 project tempo. That just means it'll go with whatever project tempo you have. In this case, that'd be completely fine. But you can also type in the BPM. Don't mix that up with type in beats. That's something completely different. Type in BPM, hit that. 128 was the tempo of the song. So we just write that, and you could write 0.00, but it's really not necessary. So 128, and there you go. The time knob has changed. It went all the way to like 4 o'clock. Now if I play the song now, wait, sorry, I have to move up the tempo. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the overall project tempo. I'm going to move that up to 142. So 142 is a hands up type of dance music speed, techno speed, that we're going to go for a remix. All the other kids with the pumped up kicks, better run. You can tell that it's starting to sound a little higher pitched, kind of chipmunk like. So to change that, some people like that kind of style. I don't really like it so much. So I hit resample on the channel settings where we just were. Resample, and you can actually choose any one you want here. But for vocals, I tend to like to choose either pro transient or speech. I tested them both and they actually sound just fine, either or. So I know you can't see this, but it says stretching at the bottom, and there's like a little circle. You guys will get that. Just let that do its work. And now we'll listen to it again. The waveform has definitely changed a little bit, but it just stretched it so that the pitch is the same as it was at the tempo of 128. So if you got the original tempo wrong, you're basically screwed. All the other kids with the pumped up kicks, better run, now run my gun. All the other kids with... Now it sounds totally natural, but just a little more upbeat, a little faster, which is actually a good quality for a song like this. Okay, so another thing that we're going to have to look at is the original song's key. There's a few ways of looking this up. Just go on Google. Alright, so on Google, you can just search up pumped up kicks key. Alright. Now, sometimes they don't actually give you the right key. So I guess what we could search up is chords. Right. This is also a good idea. As you can see, I already did search it up. Now remember that they're not always 100% correct, but it's definitely a good way to get the chord progression. So here it says E minor, G, D, A. Now these are guitar tabs, but as you can see, the chorus is about the same thing. E minor, G, D, and then A, and then that just keeps repeating itself. So we can definitely go with that. If it is off tune, we can just kind of transpose it. But the chord progression itself should be just fine. Another good way of just finding it out is by doing it by ear. That's what I ended up doing, and I found that it was basically that, but just on F and not E. So I guess we'll look at that later. So what I have here is a plugin that doesn't come with FL Studio. It's called RFX Nexus. You'll have to get it separately. I don't usually hand out any links or anything like that, so please don't ask, but it's relatively easy to find. So just REFX Nexus 2. Now what I have here is the Dance Volume Expansion Volume 2, and I have the Broad's Hands Up Bass preset on right now. I know a lot of you actually have this plugin, that's mostly why I'm using it. Now I usually hit the ABC thing on the piano roll, and that makes it look like a keyboard piano, and I play piano, so it's much easier to look at it this way for me. Alright, so let's say we go with these chords, right? So we got E minor, G, D, and A. Now I'm not going to actually hit chords since it's just like a bass instrument. This is E, as you can see if we go here, this is oh my god, it's so confusing. E4. It's right there. So I'm going to keep it on the piano now. E4. I'm going to hit every note on the offbeat. So what we have here is a quarter, is this quarter note? Eighth note. It's an eighth note because I can fit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 of them in one measure. So we got these eighth notes, and what we're going to do is we're going to make it so that they're offbeat. All that means is that if I fill in, let's say a kick, let's get a kick really fast. Clubby kick. We might not actually go with this, but if I fill in each 4 steps, that is the tempo of the song. So if I have the bass on the offbeat, it creates that kind of effect. I know a lot of you already know this, but I felt the need to go through it for the people who don't. Alright, so I'm gonna get rid of that kick for a second. So we got E first. What was the next chords? G, D, and A. So G, D, and then A. Now you might have to be careful because sometimes the chords aren't just measure per measure like this. Sometimes you'd have, for example, D playing for an extra 2 quarter measures, and then E or A only playing for 2 quarter measures like this. So you have to be careful about that, and you'll have to adjust accordingly. As far as I'm concerned, G only comes in at the pumped part of the song, D comes in on run, and A comes in at outrun. Okay, so then we can just kind of keep in touch with that. So E minor on all, G on pumped, D on run, and A on outrun. Now, of course, this is just some website, so it might not even be 100% accurate, but we can definitely use that as a good point of reference. So what we're going to do is, since this is pattern 1, we're going to lay that down right underneath the sample. And turn that down actually a little bit. Now you can tell that it's completely off tune. If it is, try other transpositions. It's usually not too far off. I'm not going to screw around with it too much. I know that it's on F. I already tried it. So it's on F, and you'll see it's better now. Now you can hear that doesn't really sound too offbeat, and that's kind of the next thing we're going to have to do in the next tutorial. We'll be getting into the vocals and everything like that. Now I know this one was a little bit more boring, but it's just so that we're all on the same page. You got to get the key down, you got to get the chord progression down for every single section. Different sections, like the intro for example, might not have the same chord progression as the chorus or the verse. So make sure you got that chord progression down. But a lot of the times in a lot of popular music, the chord progression remains pretty much the same. Another thing is, it's hard to find acapellas for songs that are completely underground and no one knows the actual song. So don't expect to find every single song out there on acapellas for you. A lot of the times I look for a song there and I don't find it because, you know, I go on YouTube and there's only like 2,000 views on that particular song. It's very unlikely that we'll find acapellas for that, and I could make a tutorial in the future on how to make your own acapellas, or finding or extracting the acapella from the original song. But remember, the key of the song, the chord progression of the song, very important. We can tell that this is an F because the first note is an F, and it's not really ascending or descending. It's pretty much just going back and forth like this. So we can probably say that the key is an F. Now, whether it's major or minor, I do recognize that because F major only has one sharp, and that's A sharp, then it must be an F minor. A good way to tell is to open up the Fruity Picture. So we'll go on the playlist, insert one, and you got these 8 slots. Open up the picture, okay? hit, since we suspect that this is in minor, hit minor, and then go into, instead of C, we'll hit F, and we can see that there's C sharp, D sharp, G sharp, and A sharp. Now if you look at our bass line, we got G sharp, D sharp, and A sharp, and those were mentioned here, but that gives us our scale, and those are the notes here that we're going to be able to use when we're making our melodies, our bass lines, anything instrument wise, anything music wise. The notes that we use are either C, C sharp, D sharp, F, G, G sharp, A sharp, all the ones that are lit up right now, because that is the scale of F minor, which is very relevant to our bass line. Okay, so that's pretty much the tutorial for now. I know this one was a little bit less exciting, but I need everyone to know what to get, what to look out for when remixing. The next tutorial is going to be more revolved or centered around the vocals. We want to align the vocals, we want to maybe modify them and kind of get ready for that mix down. We're going to be choosing our instruments, maybe, and just getting everything nice and aligned so that we can actually start everything. We might get into the intro after that, and we'll start the song structure. Song structure is another very important thing, so you guys will have to pay attention then as well. And the original song structure is very important, but a lot of the times, as long as it follows an A-B kind of song structure, it should be just fine. But generally, that's the three big things to look out for: chord progression, key, and tempo. Tempo is huge. Once you get the original tempo, move it up to, or do what we did with the vocals, if there is vocals in the song, and move the project tempo up to the tempo that you want your remix to be in. Now, like I said, a lot of hands up songs play at 140 to 148 tempo, so that's why we have ours at 142. If you're remixing in house music or trance, just move the tempo down to 125-ish to 130, maybe 140. Yeah, 140 for trance and hands or house. So you just kind of leave it there, and then it asks you to restretch all channels, and then you say yes. But yeah, just because I have my tempo at 142 doesn't mean that like yours has to be. It's just because hands up music has their tempo, or the genre itself is just a relatively faster genre. Okay, so that's going to be part one. Hope you enjoyed. More exciting stuff in the near future.